Hello, and welcome to the Smart Injury Doctors Podcast, the injury market's top program for doctors, lawyers, and insurers who want to gain greater insight on how to improve patient recovery results and deliver better services in the U.S. injury market. Please welcome your host, Dr. Jeffrey Allen Kronk.
Okay, I want to talk today about the key to blowing up your practice. The key to blowing up your injury practice and also your non-injury practice is the understanding of the condition in the first place. And I know that sounds so foreign. It's like, well, I already understand my condition. It's like, in my experience, most doctors do not understand the injuries that the spine can have. That's why I have a program called the Smart Injury Doctors Program, where we show you a market where there isn't anybody. It's the easiest market to penetrate. Now, that market you can penetrate to attract injury patients and also non-injury patients alike. But the key is you have to understand there's only 3 injuries the spine can have. Now, right now, when I say that to you, if you go to me, wow, what are those? You're in the market that is everybody's in. That's the market that everyone's in, right? And that is a very difficult market. That's a highly competitive market. That's a market that says, hey, you know what? All chiropractors are the same. Therefore, why not just get a $10 adjustment at the joint? Why would I go anywhere else? Everybody's a generalist. So, it just becomes a commodity, and whoever can deliver the service at the lowest price is where the patient would choose. Right? So we have a Smart Injury Doctors Program, and in the Smart Injury Doctors Program, again, I show doctors a market within the market, a market in the injury market. That's the easiest place to go. There isn't any competition, but the foundation of any of the marketing, the foundation of any of the positioning is your understanding of the injuries in the first place. It has to be there. And once you understand injuries, spinal injuries, you understand every chronic pain patient there is in the market. It's just that simple. Now, to show you what I'm talking about, to show you what I'm saying, and to I'm a big objective guy, right? So, can you listen to a testimony, or can you listen to somebody else's experience, or can you read what I'm saying from somebody else? So I brought my son Isaiah on. He's the director of our marketing at the Smart Injury Doctors Program. He's been here for, how long have you been here for?
I'm coming up on my 3rd year. I'm coming up on year 3.
Okay, good. Year 3. So he's actually, came from, he's an artist, came out of college and said, look, college it's not getting me anywhere. It's not teaching me what I want to know. He's straight ace, really smart kid, played college baseball, and he's excelled at everything that he's ever done. Right? So I said, okay, while you're excelling in music, learning marketing is not going to be a bad trade. It's a skill set that no matter what you do, no matter what business you want to get into, or what service or what message or communication you want to put out to the world, it's not a bad idea to understand marketing, because that's all marketing is, communication. It's a study in communication. It's a study in interrelationships, behavior amongst human beings. So, one of the things that he did, and he didn't know what a spinal ligament injury was at first. His dad was a chiropractor forever, so he's been adjusted ever since he can remember. But as he started to look and realize, wow, this is really simple, it was really easy for him. Why don't you, right now he does jiu-jitsu, and this is going to be a long about way of saying this is his experience, right? Of just taking simple information. When you complicate something, it's just complicated. So Isaiah, you do the jiu-jitsu. Explain your experience with how simple it was to go in and get patients if you wanted to.
Yeah, so I train and practice jiu-jitsu, and for those of you who don't know what that is, it is a martial art in the style of grappling. So similar to wrestling, in that sport there's a lot of neck injuries and neck pain. You hang on the head a lot, and guys get these minor neck injuries. So I'm in class one day, and I'm blessed to be around my dad enough to know a little bit about these spinal injuries and spinal ligament injuries and the three main injuries that a spine can have. So I'm talking to one of my friends. He was in a car accident maybe 3 to 5 years ago, and he's still dealing with the pain. He's under treatment. It's not clearing up. It's keeping him off the mats. So I'm just talking to him a little bit. And I asked him, when you went in for your injury case and when the case was open and you were under treatment, what was kind of going on? He had an MRI, it was clean. He was under treatment for probably 8 to 10 weeks. They settled the case and nothing resolved, which, in my experience now working in this industry for 3 years is all too common. So I just started talking to him a little bit about the possibility that he could have a spinal ligament injury and that he was probably never tested for it. I talked to him. He said he'd never had these flexion extension x-rays that I was talking to him about, so he'd never been tested for it. So I just started telling him just the basic layman information that I know. I never went to chiropractic school. I couldn't name the ligaments in the spine. I couldn't tell you at which level a ligament injury would affect which part of the body. I mean, this is really layman information. I don't know too much, but I just started talking a little bit about it, and then his eyes lit up and he's like, yeah, when I bend my head in certain directions, I have this sensation, I get headaches at night, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, okay, you should go get tested for it. While we were talking, a few others overheard, and quite quickly I had a 5 or 6 person crowd around me listening as though I was giving like a college lecture about these injuries. And I'll reiterate, I'm just a layman. I don't know much about these injuries, not much more than anyone would need to know to get patients with it. And as the conversation goes on, all of my friends that I'm telling them, I work for a chiropractor, and they're all starting to get the idea, hey, I think I need to come in and have my x-rays taken to see if I have this, because all these people have had neck pain that has never been resolved. And, this is a personal injury podcast. These wouldn't be personal injury patients, but this is how easy it is to take injury understanding and apply it to chronic pain patients and really start to fill your clinic. The same thing could be applied to talking to people about migraines. I mean, you could take this information anywhere. I mean, if I was a chiropractor, I'd be at every jiu-jitsu gym in the county talking about these injuries, because I know that's a relevant place where there's neck injuries. But you could be talking about low back pain at the fire department, at the military base, to the police officers, at your church. Everywhere you go, people are in pain, and just having a minimalistic understanding of these injuries will set you apart widely from other doctors, because all of the people I talked to had seen doctors but were still in pain and never had the condition that they had properly diagnosed. It was more, though, that they had conditions that they didn't have crossed off, but the condition that they did have was never properly diagnosed. And me just suggesting that they could have an injury and having the cause of their pain detected, and that I was confident that what they had was this injury, quickly gained me a crowd of people who wanted to come into a clinic that I didn't have. I didn't have anyone to refer these patients to. But if you have a clinic, you can do this exact same thing and quickly build your practice, grow in the market, build PI and your chronic pain, migraine, whatever other side of your practice that is, just by having a 25-year-old who didn't graduate college's understanding of these injuries.
Right. So that's the thing. A lot of times what doctors do is they overcomplicate it. So I'm going to tell every doctor that's listening on that call, you would want to hire my son to build your practice. You would want to hire him to fill your clinic with patients. Now, the thing that he's learned, the simple things, when he says, look, I don't have to know where the ligaments are, or what the levels are. He doesn't have to know any of that. Not to drive people into a doctor that's going to understand that and is going to provide the person with something more. I've said the Smart Injury Doctors program is about driving doctors into, it's about driving doctors into the front of the bell curve. You don't want to be at in the median area of the bell curve. You want to be at the front of the bell curve, right? And here's the thing though, what you don't understand is it is so damn easy to get to the front of the bell curve. It's so easy, because there's nobody in this market per se. There's nobody in this market. And it's just that simple. But just as Isaiah stated, it's all based on, you got to have an understanding of the condition that you're treating in the first place. And when you have that, you are way above the rest. And you can very easily fill a clinic. Doctors, what I do each time I do a podcast, we just take a short topic, riff on it a little bit, give you something to think about, something you motivate on. You're driving to work, you're driving, wherever you're going, you're working out at a gym, however you're listening to this podcast, or whatever you're doing while you're listening to this podcast right now, is to give you a little bit of, motivation or a little bit of information to get you thinking maybe just a little bit differently, because today it's not that difficult to stand out and be unique and be a clinic that should be treating the majority of the injury patients in your community. It's a great time to do it right now, because right now this podcast we're recording, it's 11/11/2022, right? There's a recession. This is the best market to be in, and you want to be at that front of the bell curve, because the ones that are at the front of the bell curve, they go through a recession just fine. Most of them grow through a recession. So short riffs on a topic. I hope this has helped you out in some way. If you have questions about our program, call us at 800-940-6513 or look us up on the web, www.smartinjurydoctors.com. Doctors, I always appreciate your attention, and I look forward to presenting to you on the next podcast. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Smart Injury Doctors Podcast, the #1 audio production show for professionals in the U.S. injury market that want to deliver better injury services to the patients, clients, or insureds they serve. If you like what you heard today, please leave us a review and don't forget to join us on our next program.